left a career that I was in for over 15 years that I really loved, and it's somewhat, sometimes your job does define you, right? It's what you choose to do for most of your life, right? So my career somewhat did define me, and for me to step away from that, certain boxes had to be ticked, with management, with Luke, to us agree to really be able to stay on the trajectory that it's expecting of us.
Yeah.
I had to say, for me to step away from my role and then to also be a present father, this is what it's going to have to look like for me.
Yeah.
And that's taken a long time for us to all figure out what that looks like. I did step away from my role at the end of last year. I'm now a dad as well. So that's
Was it only the end of last year?
Yeah.
Wow.
And that was the imposter syndrome. Luke and I have kept our jobs up until what we're in April.
You still have yours, Luke.
Yeah. So I was running a really large venue 5 days a week with a big team, and it was because of the amount of people that said, this is all going to be over tomorrow.
Hold on to your backup plan.
Pretty much. And then the overwhelm of expectations you put on yourself, expectations we put on each other, then the overwhelm of people out on the street who I love meeting and talking to, then trying to...
walking in here, you had someone screaming at you like, congratulations on the kids.
Yeah. And
I'm trying to hide, but I'm like on my top, it says, in my uncle ear. Oh, my God.
I don't know if you know.
I'm actually their uncle. He's their dad, but I'm the uncle.
I got some cute pics with them today, though.
Yeah, I kept the role because I didn't believe that what was happening to the level it was. And we were lying to ourselves every day, going to full-time jobs and making a video here and there, and brands were paying us really large sums to make a video that we were like, oh yeah, we'll do it. And we did it, but we still
what's the backlash?
Didn't believe that
this
was our life and our reality.
The other hard thing as well, say coming from radiography, working in a hospital, you always think the grass is greener, but you always know the next step, and you can kind of get to that next step somewhat. Not easy, but in this industry, where does it stop? You don't know. So you never feel like it's really, you've succeeded at all. There's no way to look back and reflect and go, yes, we've ticked a proper box.
But also it's once you get to one big thing that might have been your goal, you're like, cool, what's next? It's so hard to not think that way because the goals just keep growing.
I have realised my privilege way more than ever before in my life. And Marcus, my husband, one day said, Scott, you got to realise you're not the victim anymore, right? Or the minority group. You can't play the poor gay card, right? Not that I was, but he's like, you've got to now realise you are a man of privilege. And once I really took that in, I could see and be more present. I could see these incredible opportunities that were coming our way. I've had about 5 moments last year where I was driving home or to an opportunity that was mind-blowing, right? And I was like, I want to call someone to share it with. And then I went, no, Scott, share it with yourself. Be really proud and happy with yourself. You don't have to call up somebody to go, guess what's happening right now.
What do you think's been the most challenging aspect of what's happened over the last few years? Oh,
Scott's hay fever.
Yeah, hay fever's been really hard for me. That's such a powerful question. I think I cry so much lately since becoming a dad.
You're also living off 3 hours sleep.
Yeah. I think one thing has been really challenging, which has been how much behind closed doors we still are experiencing and going through, even as brothers in a family. And I'm aware that people want a part of us and people don't care, and I'm comfortable with this. And I know that this is what we've signed up for. People don't necessarily want to hear that 2 guys that are getting flown around the world by fucking A-listers and getting massive opportunities thrown their way are still actually struggling to keep sometimes their head above water, keep our mental health in check, stay on top of my daily life admin shit as well. I, have to water the garden still, right? Like fold clothes. Sure, we've got more support and help, right, than ever before.
What sport do you have?
Nanny, a cleaner, a gardener. Sure, shut up.
I think it's really hard when you get to a point where you're used to sharing so much that when something happens, your sort of first thought is to share it still.
Yeah.
You have to sort of take a step back and be like, hold on, what am I sharing this for?
What's content,
and
what's
who
not?
am I sharing it for?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot that you need to keep
And we
to
even
yourself.
struggle with that between us, right? Like early on, say with the kids, I was like, I never understood how much we were going to be posting a lot or not much about them. And then I was confused because I also didn't want to, I wanted to know because I would make the content, but I didn't want to push Scott. And then early on, I think you posted some photos of him and I just wanted to find the understanding. I'm like, is this like free game now? Like, what's the go? And you're like, I just wanted to share with my friends. I'm like, not when you've got 100,000 followers. Like, they're not your friends.
Yeah. Setting
So
boundaries
it's
is
a hard
hard.
thing to know limits. Like anyone, you have kids. Most people would share it with all their friends and family online.
Yeah,
Then
and I
now
wanted
it's
to
just
share
amplified.
photos of my kids on my social media for my friends and family. It just goes that there's hundreds of thousands of
There's
millions
lots
of
of
other
them.
people,
Yeah,
right?
and nothing that we're saying is probably new. And anyone listening right now, if you were to push into this sort of career or environment, they would be feeling these exact things too, but they just don't experience it.
Well, and there's no rule book as well, and you're sort of learning as you go because you don't know how you're going to feel in a week or a month or a year, and you might feel differently about sharing as much as you do. Then I change all the time with what I want to share and
I backflip all
setting
the time.
boundaries. Yeah,
Well,
I also look back at old videos of us and I'm like, what the hell was I thinking?
but I see. I don't look at what others do, and I don't look at what I've done
is it just how you're feeling
in
right
the
now?
moment, in the time. Yeah, and
We've even spoke about like inside voices. So I'll think about everything before I say it. He thinks I'm lying and there's no thought process. He thinks I just say that. Like he's got no concept of...
I say what I think. Luke thinks what he says.
Maybe not exactly a sentence structure, but I'll have the theme of what I'm about to say.
And I'm like, you're lying. Like, you think about what you're going to say. And he's like, so you
know how you
just
just think
say
you're
and
in the
not
right.
think. And I'm like,
Yeah.
yes. It's so, if you want to find the yin and the yang, the difference between us, we were in a car, I don't even know where, and it came up. And he's like, wait, what? So you actually don't think about what you're going to say? And I'm like,
How did you not
stop.
know that about
I'm like,
him?
so you think about what you're going to say?
I'm like, listen to your voice in your head, Scott. He's like, what?
There is none. It's out already.
Yes. And what I adore in that though, and I've loved this, call it coming to Jesus moment or self, whatever. A lot of my life growing up, I was told, you're too much, you speak too much. That bore, like I just wasn't allowed. I tried to fit in, but I wasn't allowed to fit in. People didn't let me, right? And I just kept going, okay, I'll go in that door then, right? Like I just kept like going. And now this resounding response I get online is, Scott says what I think. And I love that, right? And it comes
See,
from
people
a very...
think and they've got voices in their head.
But it's very positive. Do you get? It's very positive what
Yeah.
people say. They're like, I love it. He says how I think. And yeah, like
I just want to go on a tangent here because that's so different, but it's somewhat similar. I saw a video the other day about counting sheep when you're trying to go to sleep.
Yeah.
And a lot of people do it differently. Like I've got it that it jumps over a fence. 1, 2, 3. It's jumping over the fence. I'm counting. Whereas other people see them in a whole paddock and they're like 1 randomly, 2, there's 3.
Mine jumps over a fence. What's
do
your
you,
face
Scott?
like that for?
I've never imagined it.
Do you just think it's what people say?
Have you ever counted sheep?
Can you think?
Can you think?
I meditate
Yeah.
deep and hard. I've never had to picture a sheep
Picture
jumping.
sheep right now. Can you picture a sheep? Like, I'm
I
so
see
intrigued.
its face. It's looking at me.
I've never have looked at its face. I'm looking at a side-on view of a whole sheep, not its face.
How bizarre. No, I've never
Wow.
pictured them jumping.
Yeah,
RMU.
you're wired you're wired
Differently.
very differently. That is something that I find really fascinating is siblings. I'm one of 5. I've got
And we've met your brother.
Yeah, you met Oscar.
Japanese speaking?
Well, no, he lives in Japan but does not speak Japanese.
He was there that night when we first met.
Yeah,
that's right.
You have a good memory. Yeah, so Oscar, Eleanor, Jack and Harriet. My 2 younger ones are half siblings, but from the first 3, the 3 OGs, we are so different. And I mean, you 2 are the perfect example of that. You know, you have had the same upbringing, the same gene pool, but you are so different. And I think when I came across one of your videos, the first one, I remember it so well. It was one of the lyric videos where Scott was singing, and if he got a lyric wrong, you were pushing him in the pool and it was freezing cold. Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was one of the other ones where I had to sing the song.
I thought you were going to say he's lip syncing on his own channel. Like, no one likes
that
video.
I love them and I don't give a shit what other people think about them.
No, it was that he was getting lyrics wrong and you push him in the pool. But even when he got the lyrics right, you were still pushing him in the pool.
Yeah.
And the way that your dynamic, I found so relatable because I'm like, wow, like my siblings, I can see that. My sister and I, so different, and we will diss each other. But if someone else on the outside is to do that, you're like, hold on a second.
Back up.
It happens every now and then where we've got other siblings too that I find myself probably, you've got your own voice, so you can normally hold it, but you'll like Trav or something, even like when say mum or someone will be bagging, but going out to the outer world, like people bagging Scott out to my face and stuff, it's kind of like, oh, what are you doing? You can go hard pretty quick. Like people that nearly killed you with the almond milk.
Oh yeah.
And they're like joking about that. You
popped off there. That's true. What we have found, the resounding response has been that sibling relationships is an international language.
Even if you don't have a sibling, because people crave having a sibling and they're getting it from us.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of audience.
And a lot of people write that to us. But if I spoke to my husband, a friend, a colleague, someone on the street, someone
not even speaking to
know.
anyone. You put up the video just yesterday where I was like, oh, should you have done that? You like just his own thoughts. If they're not directed at a brother, people will come at him harder. But if I'm in the room and it's being directed at me, it's fine.
Yeah, so if I spoke to anybody else other than a sibling the way I do, it's not okay. But there's a very odd rule in this world that you can speak to your sibling however the hell you want. It's totally acceptable.
Yeah. Thanks for listening to Tell Me More. This show wouldn't be possible without you. If you'd like to show your support, please subscribe or follow the podcast on your favourite platforms, and don't forget you can watch full episodes on YouTube and Spotify.